What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here, Transition Army. So glad you could be here today. I'm quite aware, Transition Army. You could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me. And I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So, welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my good friends, on this rainy Tuesday, the first Tuesday of April 2024. What they say, April showers bring May flowers. Man, that's the case here today, here in New York City. So we have an action-packed show for you here again, once again, my friends. But before I begin the show, I always like to state my intentions. And my intention is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transition. So that's what we do here on Transition Tuesday. So I want to thank you guys for coming today. Want to thank you. We should probably be having some people on the checking in with us. They should be coming in shortly, I bet. I'm just going to get locked and loaded here, get queued up for a short, fun show we're going to have today. We're going to have an enormous show, a fun show today. So I'm just going to cue this up real quick. And I'm so glad that you guys made it. I'm so glad that you made it. You made it here today, ladies and gentlemen. You have made it. You made it here. You have made it here. As I'm live, I'm trying to cure all my situations here. And we're going to get it done, okay? We will get it done. We will get this done. So let's get after it. If no one is joining us thus far, but again, you know how my Transition Army, you know how the people do. And speaking of joining us from The Rock, we have Felicia joining us. What's going on, Felicia? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin. When I talk about the men's and women's NCAA Final Four pairings are all set on the men's and women's side. Now, on the men's side, we have number one, the overall seed UConn Huskies are going against the Alabama Crimson Tide in one game in the Final Four. And then now we got the Cardiac Kids, I guess, the Cinderella Fellas, I guess that's what I'm calling them. NC State, led by my cousin, DJ Burns. You guys, I told you guys about that. That's my cousin, DJ Burns, the lefty kid. Man, guy like Baby Shaq, I guess, man. He is doing work. He is playing against the Purdue Boilermakers, led by Zach Edey, pardon me. Now, these two is going to be a Goliath matchup. Man, but I tell you, NC State, they have crashed the party. Man, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And I'll predict this too. My cousin DJ Burns is going to really be the toast of the Final Four this year in Phoenix. Man, this guy is going to have the world in the palm of his hands for that weekend. He is definitely going to do that. We have Dolores Didi joining us for New Jersey on the check-in. What's going on, Didi? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As Didi and my fiance are conversing, they're online. I appreciate that, ladies. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you guys for joining us as well. So, again, on that men's side, again, UConn versus Alabama, first game, then NC State versus Purdue. Now, I want to go over the predictions that I had for the Final Four that I gave you guys last week. And I had here's the teams that I had, okay? I had UConn going to the Final Four. I had a North Carolina team, but I had the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, going to the Final Four. I got that wrong, obviously. Got the Houston Cougars going to the Final Four. Got that wrong. Man, if their best player Shed didn't get hurt, I think it would be a different story. And you got the Creighton Jayhawks. I had them going to the Final Four. But I was totally wrong, but I got one out of the four right. Okay, we'll take that. Got a quarter right. Okay. So that's going to be that game. And I'll go over who I think is going to win the whole thing in the men's and women's side. Okay. But let's next do the women's side. On the women's side, you got the South Carolina Lady Gamecocks, okay, the number one overall seed. They take on NC State. Now, another surprising team. They were a third-ranked team, and the great thing, how great is it? NC State and UConn on both sides of the ledger made it to the Final Four. That's great for those programs. Imagine the parties on those campuses, or when the final, when the winner wins in one of those campuses. Man, imagine the party that's going to be like. Oh my God, I would think it's going to be crazy, right? So we got again. So on the women's side, South Carolina against NC State. Then you got UConn, who just beat USC, University of Southern California, with Juju Watkins. Oh my God. You guys saw what I posted about Juju Watkins. And again, I state this here. When it's all said and done, this girl's only a freshman. But when it's all said and done, we might be saying Caitlin Clark who? Okay? But not now. All right? Because Caitlin Clark, Iowa Hawkeyes, Lady Hawkeyes are going against UConn. Okay? So, here's what I predicted for the Final Four on my calculations. Okay? I had South Carolina going to the Final Four. Got that right. I have Iowa going to the Final Four. I got that right. Then I had Gonzaga going to the Final Four. I totally lost that one up. Then I had USC going to the Final Four. So, 2 out of the 4. Okay, I'm batting 550% there on the women's side. Okay, so it's going to be exciting. Should be exciting, man. Final Four on both the men's and women's side. And I tell you what, and like most Americans, most fans out there, I think more people watch the women's games or the women's Elite Eight than they did the men. I've heard some people say they didn't even see the men's game. They've been locked and loaded with the women. And again, it's the women's game is, man, it's something special, especially this year. With the emergence of Caitlin Clark breaking all these records, breaking the all-time scoring record led by Pete Maravich. Man, I mean, it's just a pleasure watching the women play and how the women's game has grown throughout the years. Again, like I mentioned before, these women, they not only they can ball, they ball, like they really ball out, but they also glammed out by doing it. I like that too. It'll make it kind of like manly type of deal. You know what I mean? These people got personalities. All these stars, the women who are there, including the coaches, there's a lot of star power on the women's side. A lot of them are more marketable for the guys at this time. But hey, these things occur. And this is what's occurring big time. And I think it's great for basketball. And speaking of great for basketball, I got my guy Steven, Eric Jackson, on the check in McClancy's finest on the check. And what's going on, Steven? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Steven, I'm so glad you came in today because I want to give you your props. Okay? You were the first guy telling me about this Juju at USC, Juju Watkins. You were the first cat to tell me about that. So I want to give you your props about her. Because again, when it's all said and done, she's going to be that person. So what's up to you, Steven, as well, man? Welcome aboard, brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah. So again, these I know for the women's side, Final Four begins on Friday. Championship is on Sunday. And then on the men's side, you got Saturday, and then you got Monday for the championships. I mean, the Final Four and then the championship. So, yeah, it's going to be great. Should be a great event. The men's side is in Phoenix, Arizona. And women's side is in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay? So, check those out. Man, it's going to be epic battles, especially on the women's side, star power. Make sure you check that out. I'm going to come with my predictions towards the end of the show as well. Oh my God. And speaking of the men, and speaking of men, I got my guy, Uncle Smoothie, on the check-in. What's going on, Uncle Smoothie? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Smooth, another guy I'm glad that he was here today. Maybe Uncle Smoothie could give us some insight on the men's side and the women's side, says Uncle Smoothie. ESPN's on Uncle Smoothie covered both men and the women's side of college basketball. So maybe, we got in-house analysis by my guy, Uncle Smoothie. So now, Smoothie, welcome, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here to comment on some things, okay? So, speaking of comments, guys, I want to talk about, you got the Final Four coming up, and you had Iowa beating LSU. And I want to talk a little bit about LSU, and I want to talk a little bit about Angel Reese. And I want to really talk about the pressures of being a champion. The pressures of actually being a champion here. And I want to talk about, and I want to read a comment from Angel Reese after the game yesterday when they lost to Iowa. And I want to read this, and I want to really deep dive, take a deep dive in this this particular comment and about the pressures, what it is on these student athletes. Okay, so Caitlin, pardon me. So Angel Reese, she said, and she's quoted saying, "I just try to stay strong. I've been attacked by so many death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. All this has happened since I won the national championship. And here's the key point is, and I haven't been happy since then." I mean, this is really hard to hear, man. This is really tough. Here's a person with a lot of pressures on him. Just being a student athlete is a pressure. But again, when you're winning a championship, death threats come to you, being sexualized coming to you. You know, shame on those people who put death threats on an Angel Reese, which makes no sense. But again, these student athletes, you have to realize, you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army out there, if you haven't, if you're not a student athlete, if you weren't a student athlete, what have you, but again, I can comment on this a little bit. I was a student athlete, and again, the pressures that are placed among the colleges that you play for, the alumni that you play for, the pressures can be enormous. And I played at a mid-major school. I can imagine at a big school. But again, there's no room for death threats and everything like this, and the mental capacity that takes on people. And I also saw she took a mental break in November. That's when she was going through some things, because of all this. But again, it's a lot of pressure on these young, males and females out there. And we got to understand, because we see these people cry and break down. When it's all said and done, these people seem like, giants, mythical figures. But when it's all said and done, these kids are just kids. These kids are under like 21, 22 years old. Imagine how it was when you were 20, 21 years old. Man, the pressure is enormous. We got to give these people grace, especially on the college level. And we can't have that, and the shame on those people who had to administer death threats. I mean, that's just phenomenal. That's just crazy. And again, we just got to realize and give these people grace, because these are the pressures that they have, being a champion, being the winners now in these NIL, affiliates. Angel Reese is one of those people who are highest player rated person in NIL, getting money, for college. But we got to give these people grace, because the bottom line is they're just kids. They're just kids, Let's see what we got here. I'm going to read the comments. Steven says, and to add in the NIL money on top of pressure of being a student athlete. Yes, absolutely, Stephen. The NIL money, it could be enormous, man. It's life-changing for a lot of these families, the people that partake in it. But again, there's a lot of pressure on that too. Pressure from back home, stuff like that. Uncle Smoothie says, to whom much is given, much is required. That's true. It is definitely unfortunate that so many forget they are young people. You just said it. Now, I appreciate it, Smooth. Yeah, we got to realize that. These people are mammoth people. They're big in our communities. They're big in their communities. But they're just kids. They're just young people. Think of the guy, Zach Edey, 7'4", okay? A mammoth of a mountain of a man, right? You're going to see emotion if he happens to lose and maybe in the championship or the semifinals. You're going to see emotion. The guy's going to probably break down. So keep in mind, the kid is a young man. All right? So just keep that in mind. And we need to have some grace. We got to give these people this grace, and we got to support them too. We got to support them. We definitely got to support them. So keep that in mind, guys, Keep that in mind. I know sports is a main component. Sports betting is a main component. That's why people get, a little antsy and, threatening people and stuff like that. But nah, man, we got to give these people grace, because you got to remember, these people are young people. They're just kids. We got to remember that. Okay? Chris also says, Uncle Smooth also says, social media doesn't help either. Everyone has an opinion. That's true, Smooth. You're right. Everybody does have an opinion. And again, like, if you're most people, people are going to read all the opinions, right? And what's going to stick with you, not all the opinions like everybody loving you, it's going to stick with you, that one person or persons who say something negative about you, and that might affect your mental psyche as well, you know. But now, social media does not help, and as they say, social media is undefeated. Okay, social media is undefeated. That's the bottom line too, you know. So it's crazy. But now, like you said, those movie, everybody has an opinion. It's just like a-holes. Everybody has an opinion, right? Yeah. But again, some opinions are left to be held to yourself and to your vest. Okay. And the opinion of a death threat, come on, y'all. Can't be doing that, people. Cannot be doing that. All right? No matter what the cost is, we got to protect our young people. Okay? We got to protect our young people out there as well. So, let me go over my predictions for the men's and women's championship, all right? Now, on the men's side, I think UConn is going to play in the championship against NC State. I think my cousin DJ Burns is going to get it done. I think they're going to beat Purdue, okay? And they're on a magical ride, almost like a destiny-filled ride. You know, it feels very similar to what happened in 1983 when the Cardiac Kids, the Cardiac Pack, I think they called them, they won on the dunk by Lorenzo. I think Lorenzo Charles. Yeah, he had the dunk at the end against Houston, right? So again, UConn against NC State, I'm predicting in the finals. But again, UConn is that juggernaut. UConn going on 30 zip runs. UConn won it last year. Their toughest game this past two seasons in San Antonio has been Iona. That was their toughest game so far last year. Again, I think they have enough to get it done. I think they're stronger this year than last year. They get it done. I think they're going to cut down the nets for the second consecutive title. Okay? For the second consecutive title. Chris says, DJ is a problem. # cousin. That's right, Smooth. He might be your cousin too, right? Same last name. You just never know. But he's my cousin, okay? I'm claiming that, all right? Steven says, yeah, UConn, just a total team top and bottom. No doubt about it. From the coaching staff, Kamani Young, assistant coach there, you know, Danny Hurley doing his thing. You know what I mean? They are locked in. They locked and loaded. They are locked and loaded. So I think UConn will win on the men's side. Now, on the women's side, you got, I think South Carolina. I know South Carolina is going to beat NC State. Okay? It's going to be a tough game. And again, South Carolina's been very consistent. They don't blow you out, but they always find a way to win. People step up. They got so many weapons there on the women's side, South Carolina. They got so many weapons. I think they beat North Carolina State. And then you got UConn versus Iowa. Man, I think too much Caitlin Clark and the others are going to do their thing again. Because, again, keep in mind, when Caitlin Clark, they beat LSU. It was Caitlin Clark, she had like 41, but two other girls had 20. All right? And I saw Kim Mulkey, she talked about that. Yeah, you know, we know we're going to stop up, but we can't let other people come off, and they did. Okay? So, I'm predicting South Carolina versus Iowa. Another dream season by Iowa. I mean, Caitlin Clark has got everything under the sun but a title, and I think it remains that way because South Carolina is going to win and to complete a undefeated season once again. So I think South Carolina is going to win. But keep this in mind too, guys, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army. It could be possible. Now, this can happen, okay? This can happen. It could be possible if you have UConn on the men's and the women's side and North Carolina State on the men's and women's side. Both people can play for titles. You know, both people can play for a title. That would be crazy. That will be crazy. And like I mentioned earlier, imagine the campuses. Oh, my God. Imagine the campuses. Man, I'm telling you. Chris says DJ is a problem. Well, Steven says DJ is a problem. That's right, because it is a problem. This is true. Okay? And then Uncle Smoothie says, I want to see UConn and Purdue. Nah, Smooth, I don't think we're having that, Smoothie. That's not happening. NC State going to take care. My cousin going to lead the way on that one. These guys going to be laughing, you know, having a gay old time. They're going to be having a fun time. So, nah, man. That ain't happening, Smoothie. But good try, though. You know, good try. You know, and again, I would like to see Purdue win, too. But for Edie and all the shortcomings they had at Purdue, like the past 2 years, losing to St. Peter's and then losing to FDU last year. They might be on a run like how University of Virginia was when they lost that first one against the 16. They came back the next year and won the whole thing. But don't see it happening this year. Don't see that happening this year. Don't see it happening this year. So, no, those are my predictions. Again, my predictions for the championship. UConn on the men's side, they'll go back to back. Then you got South Carolina beating Iowa to complete an undefeated season. That's how I get it. We shall see. And Uncle Smoothie says, battle of the big fellas. That's right. We're going to get that in the semifinal round, Smooth. Battle of the big fellas. I know the big guy from UConn is huge as well. But nah, we got to have to settle with the battle of the big fellas against NC State, my cuz, DJ Burns Jr., and Purdue. That'll be the battle that you're craving and looking for, Smoothie. The battle of the big fellas. There. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, and think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory here today. Alrighty? As I cue up my music. Alright? I know it's been a while for me. But again, we're going to get this queued up and at 'em. I'm pointing at things, but we're going to get this done. We're going to get this situated. Because I got to play my music. I got to play some music, man. I'm all about the music. I gotta play some music here. Right? Okay, let me see. Let me get this here. Alright? Hang tight. This is a live show, ladies and gentlemen. Live. Anything is bound to happen. Anything is bound to happen on the show today. Hey! All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for you watching Transition Tuesdays each and every Tuesday. I thank you. Okay? You can see my show and this past show and past shows on our YouTube channel, Transition Tuesdays. Make sure when you go in there, make sure you like and subscribe, okay? If you haven't been following me, you can follow me on Instagram at Russ Will Transitions. That's Russ Will Transitions with an S. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. Also, I'm on TikTok at Russ Williams, the number 11. That's Russ Williams, the number 11. Okay, Russ Williams 11. Follow me on TikTok as well. Alrighty? So, I want to shout out to our corporate sponsor, Sweet Candy Cafe, located in downtown Lumberton, North Carolina, the home of Southern Sweetness. So, before the show ends, okay, we're almost done. But before the show ends, make sure you log on to sweetcandycafe.com to order your confectionery goodies. Okay? Your taste buds will thank you. Alrighty? So before we go, do we have any more comments? We got Deborah, better late than ever, on the check-in. What's going on, Deborah? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Blessing to you. And she blesses the Transition Army family as well. Appreciate you, Deborah. Thank you for joining us. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, as we say in parting, happy transitioning. We'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless.